In this video, we're going to learn how to submit the form via Ajax Request for our taxonomies. So in the previous video, we learned how to create a form for going ahead and for a product, and how to go ahead and dynamically display the categories, which is taxonomies, custom taxonomies. Okay, and in this video, we're going to learn how to go ahead and submit the form via Ajax Request and get all the details and feed it to the database. Okay, so we were doing this custom template where we have all the form inside of a theme. However, we had the main plugin into the plugins folder. So we're going to go ahead, which is the filter taxonomy widget. So what we're going to do is we'll create a new folder called JS in the filter taxonomy widget, and we're also going to go ahead and create a JavaScript file. So we can say main.js, and we need to include this JavaScript file. So basically we need to write a function for that. Okay, so we can write a custom function we can say IHS NQ scripts. Okay, and inside of that we can just go ahead and call the function WP NQ script. We can give the name of the JavaScript file, let's say main_js. that's a unique name. I'm going to define the path basically. So we'll just go to plugin URL. It'll give me the path up until my plugin, and then it's the JS, and then inside of the JS folder we have the main.js, and then let's keep the dependency to jQuery. We want the jQuery to be loaded before this, and as we all know, WordPress already provides us with the jQuery. Okay, and then we can put the version number. Let's leave it that to blank, and then whether you want it in the footer, yes, true, that's what I wanted in the footer. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and just do add action and WP, I think it's WP admin script. Just check one moment. Okay, so it's admin NQ script if you want to include your script in the admin. But I think we don't have to actually include in the admin. We just need to include it into the main front end. Okay, so WP NQ UE scripts, and then I can write the name of my function, which is basically this. Okay, so I've included my script. Let's just test it if it's there. Let's just write something inside of it. So we can initialize a self-invoking function. This is the best practice to do, guys, and instead of using the document.ready. Okay, and then we'll provide the jQuery in the $sign. Okay, and it's console main. Now let's see if you've got that included. Refresh the page, do an inspect element, check the console. No, it's not there, it seems. Okay, we'll just check what the issue is. One moment. Let's find out why it's not. So we're looking for the main.js file. So you can see it's here, but I think that the problem was that okay, here it is. Yeah, round WP content plugins JS main.js, right? Okay, nothing was found. There must be some error. Okay, let's just check. Okay, okay. Right. It was giving me the URL up until my plugin, so obviously inside the plugin URL I'll have to mention the name of my plugin. So that was the error. Okay, and I think that should resolve the problem. Let's see. Okay, now if you check, sure enough, we've got that. Okay, so we've got a file included, guys. Just remember that if you are going ahead and including any files inside of the plugin, you need to use the plugin URL function, which gives you the path up until the plugin directory. If you don't pass any parameter, if you do pass a parameter, then the parameter has to be the name of your plugin, and it'll give you the path up until this plugin directory, and then we are going to JS and then main.js. Okay, great. So you've got a JavaScript file included. All we have to do now is basically write a function inside of it. Okay, let's increase the font. Okay, so we're going to write jQuery. Okay, and we're going to put an event on the form submit. Okay, so let's see. We should have a name of a form or an ID. Let's close this. So I'll go back to my add new product.php. Let's give it an ID to our form. Let's say product form. Okay, so that's the ID for the form, and I'm going to go ahead and say that it's the ID. So jQuery selector dot on click function. First thing we're going to do is we're going to prevent the default action of the form. So prevent dot default. Okay, I think it's event dot prevent default, not prevent default. Event dot prevent default. Okay, so what we are doing basically is, ideally if you click submit on the form, then the form gets submitted and the page gets refreshed. And now if you check after, so see, you can see that the page is being refreshed. But if you refresh the page now, after JavaScript has been applied, when you click on this button, nothing is happening. Notice nothing is happening when you click on this button. Why so is only because JavaScript, the event has been prevented using the prevent default function. Okay. Great, there's just one thing I need to do over here is basically deactivate some of my plugins which are disturbing me. So I'm gonna go to my plugins. I'm gonna deactivate this plugin. Okay, that's fine. Great. So nothing happens when you click on submit because we've prevented the default event, okay, of submit. And now we're going to call the Ajax function. So we're going to create an Ajax function inside of a function, and we can just name it as Ajax Request. And we can call this function here inside of this. So whenever the form is submitted, then the Ajax call will be made. Okay, before we make the Ajax call, I think it's important that we get the values of what is being entered over here. Okay, so I think we can get the value by holding the input. Okay, so we can go ahead and give it some ID. So to the first one, which is the product name, we can give it an ID as product name. And this one is basically, we can give it a value of, ID of I think this is product category. Yeah, product category, and to the next one, I think it's the product color, product color. Okay, so we've got these three IDs, basically product name, product category, and product color. Okay, so what we want to do is basically when the form is submitted, we want to hold their values into some variable which we can pass into the Ajax request. So let's do product name is equal to jQuery, or I can just do document dot query selector and remember guys, you will have to use some function over here to ensure that the script is being called only on this page, otherwise it'll keep calling on other pages. Okay, so probably you can set some condition over here that if page is equal to, or page slug is equal to add new product, only then call this function. So you can only then go ahead and include this enqueue script. So you can do that later. I mean, I don't want to go ahead and spend time doing that because you want to keep the video short. Okay, so product name is equal to the document.query selector, and then we give it an ID selector. Okay, similarly we'll do it for product category and product color. So you're going to say product. Okay, let's just copy this and then later on we can change the name. I guess all we have to do is just change this to category or cat and change this to category and this one to color. Let's change it to color. Okay, and obviously this is just going to give us the value of the the input elements. So if I just console one of them, I mean, you can understand what you'll get for the other ones. But for one of them, and if I go ahead and refresh the page, and if I go ahead and just type something here saying that test, okay, so we've got the value of the product name. Okay, great. Now we want their values, so if I say product name dot value is basically going to give me the value inside of that input element. Let's console that. Okay, I'll put the name over here, let's say test, and I submit the form, and sure enough we've got the value as test for this input. Similarly, I will have values for product cat and product color as well. Let's just test it for the name's sake so that we don't make any mistakes. So over here we're going to get product cat and product color. Okay, let's say test. You can see that you've got test shirt in black. Yep, great. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and call an Ajax request. Okay, so we're going to use the Ajax request. I'm just going to copy paste just to save time. One of my Ajax requests. Okay, before even we go ahead and get into the Ajax request, I think there's some more things that we need to do. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to pass some data. we need the Ajax URL that the WordPress provides. So for that, we need to go to our custom functions.php, and inside the same thing, inside of the Ajax enqueue script, we will define another function which is called WP Localize Script. The job of this function is to create an object called post data. Remember, the unique name has to be the same as our JavaScript file, only then this post data object will be available to our JavaScript file, or the script before the JavaScript file. And it's going to pass the Ajax URL, and admin URL is going to give us the path up until the admin ajax.php, which is actually in the WP admin folder, admin ajax.php. So this is basically, for the Ajax functionality to work in WordPress, we need to provide this Ajax URL, which is nothing but the path up until the admin Ajax file. Okay, so we're just going to define that, and then this post data will be available over here into this function. If you want to console it and check that it's actually happening, you can do that. Refresh the page. Submit it. You can see, right? When we clicked on submit, we've got the Ajax URL, which is nothing but the path up until the admin-ajax.php file. Okay, so we've got the post data basically, and that was needed for the Ajax URL. Okay, so we need to access this property, which is the Ajax URL. So all we have to do is say Ajax URL is equal to post data. Suppose, remember, post data is an object that we've got using the WP Localize Script function, and we have to access its property Ajax URL to get this URL. So we'll say post data dot Ajax URL. Okay, and this is going to give us the URL, Ajax URL basically. So we can just verify that we're getting that value. Refresh the page, submit the button, and sure enough, you've got the Ajax URL here. Okay, great. So the next thing we will need to do is basically define a function for this Ajax. So whatever the response the Ajax is going to send us, we need to go ahead and do something with that response. So over here, it's going to give us the product name, the category, and the color, and we're going to pass that value back to our custom functions.php into one of our Ajax request functions, so that we can feed that into database. So for that, what we need to do is basically define a function, and we can name this function. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to create a function over here. Let's prefix, not do something, but let's change it to update product info. Okay, we've named that. So what's going on over here basically is we've done add action, WP Ajax, my Ajax hook. My Ajax hook is the name of the hook that we're going to pass in the action of the Ajax request when we're going to go ahead and define that. And we've given the name of a custom function over here, inside of which we are doing all sort of things which we will discuss in a moment. But we also have an option to use the WP Ajax no priv hook, but that's required when you are calling the Ajax request when the user is not logged in. So in our case, we want to go ahead and show this product page when the user is logged in. I mean, do this functionality when the user is logged in, so it's not required. We can get rid of that. Okay, so inside of this function, what we're doing is we're using WP verify nonce method. The job of this function is basically to verify the nonce that we're going to send from here to our JavaScript file. So once the data is returned back over here, we're going to verify that it's the same data. It's for security purposes. WP send JSON success function is basically going to send if the Ajax pass these data to the Ajax file if the Ajax request has been successful. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to our main.js file, and I'm going to go ahead and write Ajax function. Okay, just below this, and over here we've already got the Ajax URL. We'll just pass it here. So I'll show you what's going on inside of this function. We are creating a variable request, and we are setting that equal to jQuery.post. This is the Ajax request function. The first parameter it takes is the Ajax URL, which is basically the URL up until the admin ajax.php. Then let's get rid of this. Whatever data we want to pass to the custom functions.php update product info function, we will pass it here. So what we want to pass is basically the product name, and we can say product underscore name, and that will be equal to product name, which we will receive in the input. Okay, and we're going to send the product category, so we'll say product category. We also have an option to pass all of these three things in form of an object. We can do that, but let's keep it simple for now. Last thing is the product color. Okay, you can always add more fields, but for now this should be it. Okay. Alright, so first parameter is the Ajax URL, second parameter is the action. It's the same name of the hook, my Ajax hook, which is defined into our add action hook. As you can see, that's my Ajax hook. Yes. Okay, and product name is basically what we get in the input element over here, right? And product category is the value entered here, and product color is the value entered here. Okay, great. Now the next parameter, the third parameter, is the function, and basically over here, when the request is complete, whatever the status we get is what is being displayed over here. We can do all sort of things here as well. Next thing, when this Ajax request is complete, we use the .done function. So since we have stored this entire method into request variable, we are saying request.done. When the Ajax request is done, then go ahead and call this function. Inside of this function, there's all sort of things that we can do. So we can first check what do we get inside of the response. Okay. Obviously, we don't need the Ajax URL, so we'll just remove it from here. We'll refresh the page. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to enter a product name. Let's say shirt. Okay, well, it's not entering anything. It's hung somewhere. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so let's set the name to shirt. Okay guys, there are a few things we need to fix. First thing is that it's on form submit and not form click. That's because we want to prevent the default action of the form on its submit, not click. Okay, that's why it was turning gray earlier. Second thing, in product name, this is just the element, which is the input element. You have to put a value, .value property to get the value out of it. Okay, so now if you go to refresh, you type the name shirt, you select any shirt, t-shirt, let's say t-shirt over here, t-shirt, and then you select the color as green, submit it, and there's some issue. Okay, let's see what this. Okay, we're getting that 0. There's some issue with that. Let's find out what it is. Okay. Okay. Let's echo the. Okay, let's print the $_post and see what we get inside of that. It's a t-shirt. Oh, that's a shirt. And submit it. There's something wrong over here. Okay, let me check that out. Alright guys, just a few more things. Whenever you define this function WP Localize Script, along with the Ajax URL, you also need to pass the Ajax nonce property, and WP create nonce will be creating a nonce for you, and this is the nonce name. This Ajax nonce does not need to be created in WP JSON success, because that's the response that we send to our JavaScript file one after the Ajax request. But before even the Ajax request goes, in fact, along with the Ajax URL, we need the nonce, so that the JavaScript sends the nonce back to us and we can verify it over here. So in the main.js file, along with the Ajax URL, we'll also create a variable called nonce value, and we'll set that to postdata.ajax nonce, because we're going to get that Ajax nonce value from the postdata object, postdata.ajax nonce. We're going to get the nonce over here, and we're going to pass that value there, and we can pass it inside of the object as a second parameter as security token. So under the $_post security, you're going to get the nonce value into your function, which is the update profile info. Okay, and this is where we check $_post security. Security is basically the property name, the security. Okay, and then we'll give it the name of the nonce as a second parameter, which is basically the same name as we have passed inside of this function while creating the nonce. And we're going to verify that if the if that is false, which means that the nonce verification fails, then go ahead and end the script there. Do not proceed. But if it doesn't, if it's a true nonce value that we have received in the $_post, then go ahead and continue with the WP send JSON success function. Okay, so let's go ahead and refresh the page basically, and let's pass some information. Let's say I want to create a product for shirt or t-shirt. Let's say t-shirt, and I'm going to go ahead and select t-shirt. I'm going to say I want a blue color, and I'm going to click on submit. So when you click on submit, you can see this is the nonce value that we have received over here. So in main.js file, I've consoled the nonce value, the product name value, category value, and the color value, and as you can see that we've got this nonce created from our WP Localize Script function, which is create an object, and its property value of Ajax nonce will be equal to the nonce created by this WP create nonce function, which we've got here in our JavaScript file under postdata.ajax nonce, and we're passing the same information here. Okay, we've got t-shirt, t-shirt blue, that's what we've selected in these three input elements, and then we've got the success value. If you check under the data, we've got the data received from JS, so that's what we're trying to send as a JSON success request over here. This function basically will make the object available, which will be with property name my data and data received from JS. We're going to get the my data, it's just data received from JS. Under the action, we've got my Ajax hook, which is the same action that we passed over here. Under the security, we've got this nonce value, which is the security nonce value. We've got product category, product color, product name, which is t-shirt blue and shirt, t-shirt blue and t-shirt. So all these values basically over here. So basically we've got all the values that we need. If we want to pass any information to the JavaScript file, we can pass it here in the under my data. Okay, but for now this is just to show you, we're not going to really use it. Okay, so since over here we've got everything that we need, even if you print the $_post, which is this basically, you will get all of that data. So whatever the data sent by the Ajax request to our PHP file, it's available under the $_post. And if you want to see that it is this print R, which is why the $_post security had the nonce value that we've just verified. So let's check. Let's click on network tab. You can notice over here what happens. I'm not going to fill the, okay, let's fill it. Shirt. Submit. Click on this request. Scroll up, pull it up. You can see that under the $_post, we've got an array with action name is my Ajax hook, security is this, product name is this, product cat is this, product color is this. So security is what we are checking over here, $_post security. We are checking or verifying over here. But now since we've got all the value that we need, the shirt and black, all of the information that we need, we can now start feeding that data into the database for that particular product over here under this function. Okay, this video is already too long. I don't want to make it more long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put that for the next video, wherein I'll go ahead and explain to you as to how to feed the data into a database about this product and the categories that are related to them. Okay, perfect. Then I hope you did like the video. If you did, do subscribe to my channel and share my videos with others so that they can also learn. Alright guys, take care, bye bye.